Tree buzzards and apple pie evolved over several years, having four boys, and my youngest son was 4 years old about at the time, and we're taking day trips to older brothers' basketball, baseball games, whatever, and out of town. So we're traveling one day, and Andrew, my youngest, breaks the silence. He says, "Dad, can you tell me a story?" And I said, "Well, sure, buddy. What kind of story you want to hear?" He said, "Well, can't you just make one up?" So I'm going, "Well, yeah, all right, so we'll do that." So, I started in on something and just started rambling a little bit. And then I'd get to a part where there was a turning point or I ran out of stuff to say. So I'd always leave it by saying, "But that's going to have to be another story for another time." Well, that would aggravate him, and he'd go, "Oh, come on, Dad, you need to, what's next?" So, no, I'm going to have to tell you later. So, every time we get in the car for any kind of road trip, he'd want to hear that story. So ultimately it started to grow. The story would, we'd start from the very beginning and then it would get added to and grow some. And whenever I found that other spot that I couldn't think of anything and needed to recharge, then I'd say that's going to have to be another story for another time. So that went on for a number of years, and then it was probably February, March of '08. We're taking another road trip, and Andrew breaks the silence again, and he says, "Dad, remember that story, the buzzard story? Tell me that story." So I said, "You got to be kidding, buddy. I ain't told you that story in 3-4 years probably." He's 13 now. And he says, "I know, just tell it." So I'm not even sure I can remember it. But anyway, I did. I told the story, and no sooner than I finished the story, both he and my wife at the same time said, "You need to write that. Somebody will print that story. It's a cool story." So I did, and the story grew all the time, but it grew once more. It grew once more when I write it, when I actually went to write the story, and people that know me, my friends, would know, when they understand I wrote a book, they said, "Do what? You wrote a book?" Because that is not me. I like math and science, but I wasn't a reader and a writer, so to speak. So the story grew one more time. I've got to give it to divine intervention, really, because I was probably a paragraph or so into the story and realized I was in a zone beyond Harold Cohn's knowledge of himself. I think I even dropped the pen and said, "Hold on a second. Something's moving me here." And I took a walk around the backyard and was really motivated at that point because I felt I was being guided, and the story grew one more time, and that's what the story is now, and just a cool space and time that it related to the family and everybody got to participate in it. Well, it's a children's adventure story about three South Georgia farm boys that decide to go off the beaten path and make a few bad choices, and what can happen from a small little, what seems an innocent thing. And basically the boys make a wrong turn, they take somebody's pie, they mistakenly get turned into buzzards, and now they're having a bad day, and how are they going to get back to where they need to be, and ultimately the life lessons that can be learned from small choices. And it lends to the reader, everybody's personal life experiences on mistakes for choices that we made, and what precipitates change, by decisions that we make. Was it just a matter of fate? Was it divine intervention? Was it a matter of free will or predestination, or a combination of things that can cause change? And what's the consequences of those things? So it's designed for people of all ages can relate to it and stimulate the imagination of kids, and things as they relate to little choices that they make in their life.